I'm trying to hit that little button. So welcome everyone to the Satsang of Sri Anandamayi Ma. And I always have to start with this disclaimer. I think it's actually a legal necessity that we are recording this session and we do post it on our YouTube channel, which is Anandamayi Ma Satsang West, so devotees can see it and who weren't able to come. And we do get a lot of views. We got over about 1,100 views for our last month's satsang. So it is, people are accessing it. So you will be recorded, but please don't let that dampen your enthusiasm to participate, because this is all family. We're all devotees of Ma. So I always like to say, let's think of why we are meeting here today, what our sankalpa is. And let's think about Ma for a moment and start bringing her into our minds. We are here in the presence of her paduka, which she wore on her feet, and many other things. Some sand she stood on, books she gave people, the towel she wore on her head. But Anandamayi Ma is an eternal spiritual figure. She is always accessible. We all know that we've been touched by her grace. We're here, as I always say every month, Ma said, you can't even think of this body, of me, without me first thinking of you. So she thought of us, she's brought us here. Everything is her grace. We move forward by her grace. We are here by her grace. We will continue by her grace. But an important factor is every valid spiritual path will tell you, every true religion will tell you, there is a part that we have to play also. There is a absolutely necessary part of this whole scheme of things, that God doesn't just come and suddenly reveal himself to us and make everything perfect and force himself on us. We have to slowly evolve in that direction and slowly begin to wake up and turn our face to him and use our conscious active will to turn to God. Ma said many times when people said, oh Ma, you do everything for me, she said, why is it you're able to make money and raise your family and enjoy yourself in the world, but then when it comes to spiritual life, you're suddenly a complete paralytic cripple. You can't do anything. So she said, use that same will by which you live in the world to turn to God. So one of our aims should be in these satsangs, first of all, to invoke Ma and love Ma and feel her presence and read about her and her merciful ways of doing things, but also to hear her words of what she says our part is. Because she does tell us that. She will say very clearly, now it's up to you to fill in the blanks. So let's think about that today. Let's see what Ma, I wouldn't use the word demands, what Ma expects of us as her children, as her devotees. What she expects us, how she expects us to behave, what she expects us to do in order to clarify our vision of her, to go forward toward her, to realize her, to become truly aware of her, not just intellectually, but in a real spiritual, ultra real experience of being with her and seeing her in darshan with her own eyes. One time I think it may be in the reading today, I looked up one of her self-explanations when she met the Raja of Ceylon. He asked, who are you? And she said, I am Darshini. Darshini means the one who is to be seen. Darshan, the one who came to give darshan. So Ma came to give darshan. She came to let people see her because there was no ego there. There was no sense of a separate being apart from God there. But she realized, she knew when people saw her, they were uplifted, they were awakened. So she's here to give us darshan today, and truly here. Do we usually start with the introductions, then we go with the reading? Okay. Rainu is my external memory and intelligence. Okay, so one of our reasons I always say, for those who are new, you're hearing it the first time, one reason we started this satsang is to learn of Ma, but also to have community. That is so important. Ma stressed daily, and Swami Bhaskarnandaji, Ma's main disciple, also stressed having satsang, meeting together, and it's both to study and learn, but also to have community, to have support from each other. And I just came back last night from being in Florida, where I was able to be with the Ma devotees there. David and Janet hosted a satsang at their home, and we had a couple of Indian families. One family who I asked to come today, I don't know if they'll show up or not, but we're with Ma for 3 generations. The grandfather, the father, and the son are all with Ma. Beautiful, beautiful time sharing stories of Ma. And so I love the fact that over these past years since you've had this satsang, I've been able to meet many of you in person, and it will continue to do so.
And we can all meet together at the Samyam Septum in September.
That's right. Put it on your calendar. Well, I think it's going to be October this year. We're still planning it. But in the fall, we will meet together as we did last year for our in-person Madhya Satsang. And we'll keep you posted. And we're going to work on that as soon as possible to really get that plenty of time in advance for people. Our Swami Guru Shodhan will be there. So our Pragya Halstrom, who usually co-hosts with me, cannot be here today because she is with her grandchildren. It is understandable. They're visiting. But she just returned from India. And so I guess we'll have to wait till next time. We've heard of it. I want her to share her time at our ashram in India, Mahasharanam Ashram of Anandamayi Ma in India. She was able to spend several weeks there and had a wonderful experience. Okay, so for those who don't know, my name is Mangalananda. And I received Diksha from Ma in 1973 at her Vrindavan ashram and traveled with her in 73, 74. I wrote a small book about it, A Goddess Among Us, with some of my memories of being with her. And I've lived in her lineage ever since. I was a sadhu for 40 years. Lived in her ashrams in America and in India. I lived 12 years in her ashram in India. And I'm an appointed acharya. That just means a lineage teacher or a presenter of her teachings from both Ma Sharanam and Omkareshwar ashram. And this is...
My name's Gloria.
That's my wife, Gloria.
Hi.
And I'll introduce our tech co-host, and then we would like, as she calls on you, we would like everyone to turn on your video, and when she calls on you to unmute and then remute so there won't be echo, and just say, at this point there's a lot of people, so just say your name and where you're from. Later on we'll have a time to have open sharing and talking and discussion among ourselves. So Renu, will you say hello and introduce yourself?
Jai Ma, everyone. Hi. Renu here. I'm just going to go down the participant list.
Where are you from, Renu?
Oh, yeah. Fremont, California.
You got to set the example.
Near Oakland. For people who don't know the Bay Area. Okay, so I'm going to go down the participant list, and then you can just unmute and say where you're from and hi. We're going to start with Chris Redfield.
Hi there. I'm Chris. I'm from Humboldt County, California, and I'm currently in New Hampshire. Very happy to be with you.
Welcome, Chris. Welcome. Stay warm up there in that snow.
Yeah.
Welcome, Chris. Jai Ma. Next, we have Adriana Hernandez.
Adriana, be sure to unmute us, the bottom left side of your screen.
Yes, I think I'm unmuted. Hello, my name's Adriana, and I'm from Santa Paula, California.
Welcome, Adriana. Very nice. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, welcome, Adriana.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Bill Ryan.
Hi, I'm Bill. I'm from Tucson, Arizona. It's great to be with you.
Always good to see you, Bill.
Welcome,
Bill.
Bill.
Hearing your story last month also. That was nice.
Okay, Jai Ma, welcome. Crystal is next.
Hi, I'm Crystal, and I am on the East Coast in Baltimore, Maryland.
Welcome, Crystal. We've been in contact through Facebook, right? Just recently?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Welcome. Good to see you. Very good.
Thank you.
Jai Ma, welcome. Next, we have Linda and David.
Jai Ma, we are in Williamsburg, Virginia, and we would like you to be a little bit louder, please, if it's possible.
I wonder.
Hi, you guys.
Hi, you guys.
That's really nice. We met them in Virginia this last year. Let's see if I can turn up my microphone. Yeah. See, I've got a new computer. It's an Apple. I've never had an Apple before, so I'm not sure.
I think if you even just did the original sound thing, it might help.
I'm going to turn it off?
Yeah.
Okay, let's
I'll
try.
remind you.
Remind me this. You're a play. Play. Is that any louder? Is that any better?
Is that better, David?
Oh,
Thank
it's about the
Really?
same. Okay, well, it's still off. Well, at the moment, I don't. I'll try to. I can maybe turn up my microphone. I can figure out how to get the. Sorry for the pause. We want everybody to be happy here.
Volume on the bottom.
No, that's a PC. This is an Apple. So I've got to do it in my settings. I'm sorry, I just don't know how to do it. But I know that screwed everything up if I mess it any further. So we'll try. I'll try to speak more loudly. Okay,
it's
let's
not
continue, Randy.
it's happened either. Yeah.
Okay, well, nice to see you, David and Janet there. Good to see you guys.
Okay, welcome. Next up, David and Janet.
That's Linda and David. Yeah.
David and Janet. It's the couples.
Hi, JMA, everybody. We are David and Janet, and we're in Lake Worth, Florida.
Good to see you guys. Long time no see.
Yeah, long time.
I just left. I woke up there at their house yesterday morning in Lake Worth.
What a pleasure. What a joy.
Yeah.
Next time, Gloria. Next time.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Welcome, guys. Next, Gopal.
Jay Gopal, are you there? You have to unmute on the left side of your screen. Okay.
Hello, this is Gopal from Kolkata, Ma's disciple. I was really very pleased to meet you, Ma's devotees, in this meeting. Thank you very much.
Gopal, welcome, welcome, welcome. It must be the middle of the night there, right?
Yeah, it's maybe 2 or 3, nearly 3 o'clock. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for joining us. Very, very sweet. Aapka swagat hai.
I have just come back from Kumbh Mela today, from Ma's place. I was last 7 days in Kumbh Mela Ma's camp.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful
So
experience.
my voice is also a little hoarse with a little cold. Sorry for that. I hope you're all well by
Very
Ma's
good.
place.
Stay as long as with us as you can until you need to sleep. We're very happy you're with us. Jai Ma, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma.
Aapse milkar bahut khushi hui.
Only Hindi she knows, but it's good. She said, I'm happy to
Okay.
be But he's Bengali. He speaks Bengali.
Oh, okay.
You must speak Hindi also, right?
I couldn't catch up. The
You must
sound
speak
is
Hindi
little
as
less.
well you must speak Hindi as well as Bengali, you know?
What is it?
He's saying, do you speak Hindi as well as Bengali?
I speak Hindi, Bengali, English a little bit also.
Very good. Well, आपका स्वागत है. हम बहुत खुश आपने.
Thank you very much. To meet you all, Ma's devotees. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, Jai Ma. How nice.
Jai Ma, welcome. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
next up we have Greg.
Jai Ma, everybody. My name is Greg. I'm in Rio Rancho, New Mexico.
Welcome, Greg. Good to see you. Very good to see you. I'm glad you could join us again.
Welcome. Good to see you. All right, next up we have Shama.
Hello, Jai Ma, folks. I'm in Northern Ontario, which looks like this.
Oh.
And this is in the country of Canada, has to be said.
Yes, which is not a state of the United States.
That's right.
Yes. God bless America. God bless Canada. Okay. We're not going to get into politics here, but enough said. Well understood.
We're so very sorry.
Yes. We're so very sorry and embarrassed. But good to see you, Shama. Always good to see you. I stayed with her in her beautiful Ayurvedic retreat in Florida when I used to be traveling from India. And she also received Diksha from Ma. Very good. Good to see you.
Okay, welcome from up north. And next we have Makarand. Makarand is what I can.
Yeah, you pronounced it right. Makarand. I'm from San Jose, California. Originally from Pune, where whenever I visit, I go to Mahad's ashram there.
Very good.
Jai
Welcome.
Ma.
Also, Aapka Swagat hai.
Thank
Yes, I've been in Pune many times. I've stayed there many times, and we know Pune Ashram very well. In fact, Pune Ashram is working very much now in league with our Ma Sharanam Ashram. Although Ma Sharanam is not part of the official Anandamayi Sangha, it was started separately, but the Pune people come all the time. And in fact, we celebrate Durga Puja at our ashram in Madhya Pradesh. So we're very connected with the Pune ashram.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's good to know. Okay, maybe next time I will try to go to Madhya Pradesh ashram when I get a chance, if I get a chance.
Yes, yes,
yeah.
always,
Okay.
you're always welcome. Very
Okay.
good.
And yeah, I may turn my video off. I may have food while I also have food for thought and meditation for thought.
Okay.
I mean, from this, okay.
That's fine. We want people to be comfortable and know they're at home here. We're all in Moss family, so very good. Do it as you need. What a nice group today.
Jai Ma, welcome. Okay, Michael Zeev.
Hi, Michael from Sebastopol, California. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, Michael, always good to see you. And we just met recently for dinner so he could tell me about his time in Ma Sharanam. He also just came back from India and was able to visit our Ma Sharanam ashram. In fact, Michael, later on when we get to our sharing, I'd love to share just a few of your memories of just being there at the ashram recently. Okay?
Sure.
Good.
Okay, Jai Ma, welcome. And next up, Molly.
Jai Ma, I'm Molly from Long Island.
Welcome, Molly. Jai Ma, very good to see you.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, welcome, Molly. And Nishkala.
Hello, everyone. Mishkala from the Finger Lakes in Ithaca, New York.
Welcome. Good to see you again. Jai Ma.
Good to see you.
And thank you, Jai Ma. And Raphael Miller.
Jai Ma, my name is Raphael and I'm located in Wisconsin.
Welcome, Raphael. Good to see you also. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, welcome. And Ryan from Ireland.
Hey, I'm Ryan from Ireland. Good to see everyone.
We don't see you, but anyway, can you turn your video on just for a moment? Do you mind, Ryan?
I do mind. I'm sort of in bed.
Okay. It's the bottom left of the page. You just click the little video icon.
Okay. I don't think that's gonna happen. So
Anyway,
we're
it's
gonna go
okay.
with
Welcome, very much welcome. It must be late there also, so I'm very happy you joined us. Very happy. Jai Ma.
all right, next up, Sarah.
Jai Ma, it's Sarah on the big island of Hawaii, and I like your shirt, Reinu.
Aloha.
Aloha.
It was so good to see you just at the retreat. Or
It was nice to get to meet you in person.
yeah, it's
Isn't
awesome.
that wonderful? In this satsang also, people are meeting each other. Well, like how you and Yana, weren't friends before, and now you're friends. People are meeting each other through this. It's so wonderful. That's the way it should be.
Oh, thank you, Jai Ma.
It was really cool. Yeah. Okay, Jai Ma and Stephen and Claudia.
Hi, everybody. This is Claudia. I'm Steve. We're just outside of Philadelphia.
Welcome, Claudia and Steve. Good to see you both. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
And
Jai
we're
Ma.
get started soon, but I appreciate people's patience. I think this is really important. It's so important to feel each other and really get to know each other, and then we'll keep moving.
Okay, Jai Ma, yes. Looks like it was a person named User Randy. I don't know if that's Randy, regular Randy, or a different new Randy.
Regular Randy.
Hi, everyone. It's Randy. And I think that's my new computer. I am currently in Collegeville, PA. visiting my mother from Western Mass, and very good to be here. Jai Ma.
Good to see you, Randy. Jai Ma.
Hey, Randy. Great to see you.
Hi, mwah.
Oh, nice to see you.
So is the regular Randy. Welcome.
No, she's way better than regular. She's
Super
supreme.
Randy.
I just meant familiar. Okay, and Yana.
Hi everyone, Yana in Hilo, Hawaii.
What a beautiful setting behind you.
Jai Ma.
Good to see you, Yana. We haven't seen you for a while.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you. This is my backyard.
Wow,
Wow.
nice. Jai Ma.
That's
we have
awesome.
we have everything from snow to tropical to the middle of the night to late at night to early morning. Great.
And then finally we have Arpita Ji. I'm not sure if she can say hello to us, but she is here.
Who is it?
Arpita?
Arpita, you there?
She was, yeah, she's here. But
okay, well, Arpita and Robert are in Florida, and we just saw them again. I saw them Friday. They were at our satsang in Florida on Friday. So and Arpita also received Diksha from Ma. I was traveling with Ma around the same time I was. We kind of overlapped a little bit. Good. So I think we're all here. Welcome everyone. We are one family in Ma. So let's start. As always, I like to start with reading Ma's own words of assurance that she is very definitely with us and aware of us. So this is Ma's own words. She said, "I am ever with each one of you, wherever you happen to be. But your vision is tied down to worldly matters, and you have little time to direct your eyes to this body in your thoughts and actions. What can I do? But know it for certain that whatever you do in thought and deed, whether you are near or in distant lands, never escapes my loving attention. Just as at a flash of torchlight, your faces gleam forth in their bold outlines, all your facial expressions appear in my mind when you meditate on me or talk about me or sit down to pray to me." So Ma is aware of us. The fact that she had a body for 84 years, 86 years, whatever it was, and now doesn't, on one level makes no difference, although I must admit, it was really wonderful being with her in the body. That was a unique experience, but as far as her accessibility, her ability to see us to see her, it's still there. The fact that she's no longer in body doesn't make a difference. She says, and Ma often said, she said I sometimes, but really she used the pronoun I. She always said ye sharir, this body, because she could speak through any body, but she said this body says, so she would frequently refer to herself as this body. For this body, the question of accepting or declining anyone does not arise. At all times and under all circumstances, in inspiration and in dryness, this body remains and ever will remain with everyone. She says the Atma of this body, the true self of this body, is the Atma of all. It cannot be that anyone anywhere is not Ma's very own. These are Ma's own words. And she says, solely for you all is indeed everything that this body says or does, its actions, its movements, its going hither and thither. Whatever is done for your sake through this body at any time, it is you who caused it to happen. So we know that for 50 years, from 1932 to 1982, Ma traveled incessantly, never staying in one place more than a week, 2 weeks at the most, and she just constantly was moving. And it was because she was drawn by everyone's need and necessity. She just came wherever she was needed and did what needed to be done. And people ask her, why do you travel so much? And she would laugh and say, oh, I'm a restless little girl. But then they would press her further and she would say, truly, you see me moving, but I experience no movement. She feels everything. She says, I've simply come to my garden to see my flowers, and moving from one room in my house to another. She didn't experience the feeling of movement because she was all pervasive. Ma says, for one who knows me, I am one with him. For one who wants to know me, I am very near to him. And for one who does not know me, I am a beggar before him. So she's darshini. She came to give darshan. She wants us to see her and interact with her. He says, you ask me if I love you? You may or may not be able to be without me, but I simply cannot do without any of you. So we each have this perfect place in God's universe, and the universe would collapse with one cell is missing. So if any of us are not there, which of course is impossible, the universe would collapse. So Ma can't do without us because we are a part of her integral universe. I love this one. Anyone calling out for God from any land, in any language, and in any age, remember, their cries reach this heart like waves crashing onto the sea. Isn't that beautiful? So I always like, first we'll sing. So we're going to approach Ma through our reason, through our memory, through our intellect, but let's approach her first through the heart. So let's sing. We always start with this one particular Kirtan, which is, we wrote kind of as a theme song for our ashram in India, which is Ma Sharanam Ashram. And it simply says, O Ma Sharanam. Sharanam means a place of refuge, a place of safety, a place of stability. You know, when you come into the Sharanam of Ma, she takes you under her wings like the chicken with its chicks, and she takes care of you. So we say, Om Ma Sharanam. As we sing, just feel Ma's presence with us. I've got to turn the sound on, right? You forgot to remind me, Rainu.
Oh, I didn't know where we landed with that.
Yeah, I think, can you see, sweetie, is that on or not? See the upper right there? Does that say on or off?
On.
Okay, I think it's on. So you can hear the harmonium right now? Okay, it's on. Om Ma Sharanam. 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 Om Sharanam Om Ma.
Om Ma 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 Sharanam 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 Om Ma Sharanam. Together one last time. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam. So let's sit quietly and just feel Ma's presence with us right now. She's very aware of us. So I like to see read two things. First, before we read Ma's words, just some events from her life, and a little more self-revelation from Ma, because Ma, as you know, people who studied her words and things, she never talked about herself. She never said, "I'm this, I'm that," except on rare occasions when people asked, "Who are you?" In fact, last month we read how when Baiji asked her, "Who are you?" what she said. It was beautiful self-revelation.
You do the sound?
No, we're going to go to keep it on,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Seems okay, yeah. But thank you. Got a blue box up there on top. So when people ask Ma, who are you? Usually she would say, I'm just your little girl. I'm your little child. I'm your daughter. Or she would say, I am whatever you think I am, which is an infinite definition right there. But a few times, like one time historically, she said, Purna Brahma Narayana, the fullness of God in human form. That was a rare occasion. It happened one more time when some Swami asked her years later. But she didn't speak about things like that. So the few things we have, like some of the things I read at the beginning, are very rare. Because Ma, like I say, Ma was the embodiment of just humility and simplicity. But this is from the book In Association with Sri Ma Anandamayi by Amulya Gupta. He was it's his diary spanning like 25-30 years. Unfortunately, we only have like 3 or 4 volumes translated into English. Most of it is in Bengali. But he was a very advanced spiritually. Ma responded to everyone according to their capacity to hear and their evolutionary development, what they needed to hear. So Ma was very simple with some. She was more self-revealing with others. With Amulya Gupta, when you read his diary, Ma was very straightforward with him. He was obviously a very advanced aspirant. And Ma always spoke very openly with him about spiritual things, about spiritual techniques, and about herself. So this is a very interesting conversation he had with Ma once back in the 1930s, I think. So he uses 2 words for what's fine: khanda, which is finite, and akhanda, which is infinite. So this is his words. Amulya Bai speaks thus. In connection with Ma's sense of the terms khanda, which means finite, and akhanda, infinite, all-comprehensive, I ask her, Ma, when you are in your akhanda form, your all-comprehensive form, can you have cognizance of us? The question made Ma subside into a fairly solemn mien. She said, these are matters I do not divulge to all. They do not come out of my lips in the presence of all. But I shall tell you, you have asked the question and the answer is coming out of my lips. It is so perhaps because you shall understand it. I am neither khanda nor akhanda that you speak of, So she says she's neither finite nor infinite, that you speak of. But I take my strides in both of these aspects. I am neither limitless nor am I confined to limits. I am simultaneously both. To call me Khanda is to circumscribe me, and if you call me Akhanda, you do the very same thing. I have no limits, no bonds. On the other hand, I exhibit all the bonds. I am Khanda and finite insofar as I eat and sleep. At the same time, I am Akhanda and infinite, for I have no need of these things. When children come to me, I joke with them and become one with them. Again, when great men come to me, I speak with them on their own level. Many souls, I do not speak of only souls with good propensities. Many darkened souls also approach me, and I meet them on their own terms and fulfill their needs. I am the universe in its infinitude, including the ephemeral worms and insects. You ask me whether you are within my kin when I am in my all-comprehensive self. My answer is, not only you, but even those who have never seen me or heard of me swim into my vision the moment they need me, and I do as needful for them. This is thrilling, isn't it? So he continues, then you can see me? You can see us when we think of you? Ma replies, yes, when you think of me, your form flashes across my vision, just as objects become visible when the torchlight is focused on them. Then she asks, what do you make of me? So Amelia says, judging by your words, you are self-revealed, the real essence. There was never a time when you did not exist, and never a time will come when you cease to be. Now, if it is said you are Mahamaya, Kali, or Durga, these are forms of the Divine Mother, incarnated as a human being, it would be unduly investing you with a limit. It would not be your real identity, for you are at once finite and infinite. How could one who is self-revealed have a revelation? How can such a one be defined either? Is it not so, Ma? Ma smilingly said with a fair amount of emphasis, what you have understood is the truth itself. See, this is Ma revealing herself. So, let's get to the end. Hearing Ma's words, a pulsation of joy shot across my mind, and I was overpowered by a feeling I could not identify. I thought merit accumulated over myriads of successive births must have gone into bringing me into contact with her, giving me the rare fortune of calling her Ma. Isn't that beautiful? And Gloria always says, oh, I'm not so much into all miraculous Ma. I like this everyday Ma. But I love sharing these things because when Ma was so approachable, so I can say humility in its essence, and you could talk to Ma and relate to Ma. But at the same time, she was always divinely distant. In the sense you felt there was just a distance that you couldn't span. And I love people knowing these things, that Ma is so infinite and so powerful, because it shows we can have faith in her. We can have absolute faith in her, that she is not only willing but totally capable of taking care of us and caring for us. She's a savior in the real sense of the word. She's here for us, empowering us, guiding us, but also when we leave this world, she'll be there for us. And let me regress to another story which I've shared before. It was shared to me firsthand. This wonderful Swami who used to visit our ashram in Indore, India. He and I were once on the flat roof outside the ashram, above the ashram. It was after dinner, and we were walking back and forth. And he told me, I don't think I'll tell the whole story. I've told it before, but he told me he had this death experience where everyone had wished him goodbye, and he just watched himself. He was very ill, very ill. Doctors had literally given up on him. They all left. They said, we can do nothing for this man. He has maybe an hour to live. And so he just went into meditation, and he saw it happen. He saw the chakras release, and he stepped out of his body, and he saw his body fall over and was lying there on the bed. And he was obviously in his astral body, standing there looking down at his body, and he thought, this must be death. And he felt this kind of cold fear, which is inherent in every soul, this fear of death. He felt this fear of death. And suddenly he said he felt a hand on his shoulder of his astral body. And he turned around, and Ma was standing there. And she said, why do you worry? Don't you know I'm right here? And looking at her, he said, Ma. And suddenly he felt just like sucked back into his body, and he sat up perfectly well. And he ran to our Swami Kedarnath, who was in the ashram, and said, "Look what Ma's done to me." And Swami Kedarnath said, "What? We just left you dying. What happened?" So he called the whole ashram and he said, "Look what Ma has done for our Swamiji." And so the Swamiji related all that happened. But Ma is there. My point in telling this is Ma is there in life and death. She's active on all the planes of existence. We were reading in a satsang just 2 days ago when I was in Florida. I did some readings there too. And we were reading of this Brahmachari Krishnananda who was with Ma for many years. And he said that he said one time they were with Ma. I wouldn't be able to find the reading right now, but I'll give you the gist of it. They were with Ma and sitting in the evening. There was maybe 24 people. And suddenly this soul, I won't say ghost, it was a discarnate being in their astral body, suddenly was standing there. And some people, he said Chitra, he named people, Chitra cried out in terror. And the people who were disturbed, Ma said, "You go to your room, you go to your room." And Ma was sitting in her bed, and she just made room like this, and the spirit came and sat down next to her, and they just had a long, and everybody in the room saw it and heard it. And they just had a long talk, and Ma gave the spirit advice, I don't know who it was, and talked about it, blah, blah, and then the spirit pranammed to Ma with great joy and disappeared and left. And then the next day they got a telegram that a very close devotee had passed away that very night, exactly the time it had appeared to Ma. So, and also if you read in Swami Nityananda's new book, I think it's called In Love with the Divine Mother, it's quite a nice book. He says her father, I know Nityananda very well, her father was a great devotee of Ma. And she said that one time her father told him they were in the Beampora ashram, bless you, bless you. And they were in the Beampora ashram, and right in front of everyone, they were standing on the second floor with Ma, and suddenly this light appeared, and this radiant being, who was obviously like a rishi or something, this radiant being appeared and lit up the whole night and spoke with Ma for a long time. Everyone saw it and then disappeared. So Ma is able, my point in this whole ramble is that Ma is all-powerful, all-comprehensive, all-knowing, and active on all the planes of existence. So it just gives us so much faith and confidence in her that she's capable, very capable of taking care of us very well. That's my point. Okay, I want to give another reading here also. This one's very dear to me because it's about a good friend of mine. This is an excerpt from the book Transcendent Journey by Swami Gyanananda of Dehradun. And some of you may know him. He was quite well known. He just passed away. I last saw him right before I came back to America. Probably 2013 I saw him last. He passed away shortly after that. He was a great inspiration to me. He was a Swiss Swami, a Swiss sadhu. He came from Switzerland back in the early 1950s. He hitchhiked and drove across land to India, and he went to Calcutta and met his guru, who was Swami Atmananda in the YSS line. He was a Kriya yogi. Swami Atmananda, his guru, had been given sannyas by Paramhansa Yogananda himself. So he was very much in that lane. So he met his guru and was a perfect disciple. He surrendered to him. He learned lessons. He learned how to meditate from him. He took sannyas from him. And then when his guru left his body, he lived with him for years in Calcutta. When his guru left his body, he traveled as an itinerant Swami, a sadhu, for many years, and had amazing experiences, lived in the Himalayas. To me, he was just like a living example of what is a Westerner who made it, and reached great heights of meditation. And he had a little ashram in Dehradun and one in Mussoorie also. And I was living in Madhya Pradesh at the time. And whenever I would come up to north, to the Rishikesh area, I would always go and go to his satsang and spend hours just talking to him. And he was very, very dear to me and very kind to me. And he loved Ma. He spent so much time with Ma. His guru, of course, loved Ma also, because Paramahansa Yogananda loved Ma. So he was very close to Ma, and he spent time with her whenever he could. And we had so many stories about Ma. One story is contained with this that I always tell people. Okay, so this is Swami Gyanananda of Dehradun speaking. Once I went to see Ma with my Guruji, Swami Atmanandaji of Yagoda Satsang Mat, when Ma was in Calcutta. To have Ma's darshan in the company of one's Gurudeva was a very special blessing. Soon Ma reciprocated the visit and came to Yagoda Mat in Dakshineshwar. That's where Sri Ramakrishna was, outside of Calcutta. I was fortunate enough to touch her feet that day, though no one was really permitted by her disciples to do so. Gurudev sang devotional songs for her, and Ma responded with singing Hey Bhagavan in a voice of great sweetness. Then Gurudev asked this Swami, Swami Gyanananda always referred to himself as this Swami in the third person. Then Gurudev asked this Swami to sing for Ma, which was a privilege indeed. This is a story I always tell, this next one. I always felt a unique intimacy in my relationship with Ma. And see, if I interrupt a moment, this was one of Ma's calling cards, that the soul recognized her. I've talked to so many of Ma's devotees. I've always asked their first darshan, and this was an experience of my first darshan too. When you were with Ma, you suddenly felt this deep familiarity. Like you've always known her, you'll never not know her. Because it was the soul recognizing its eternal mother. It was like a more than just intellectual, it was a deep, deep soul feeling, a bhava. So let's go back. Swami Gyanananda speaking. I always felt a unique intimacy in my relationship with Ma. I felt she knew me so well, better than I knew myself. Like everyone else, I often wished that I could have darshan of Ma alone. But Ma seldom had less than 20 people around her. Still, there was an intense feeling of closeness. We always felt Ma was giving all her attention to every one of us. Even if there were 100 people in the room, everyone felt, oh, Ma was paying all attention to me tonight. Because she could do it, just like Krishna danced with each gopi. Each gopi had the complete Krishna, so Ma could give herself totally to every single person. But seldom Ma had less than 20 people around her. Still, there was an intense feeling of closeness. I always had the feeling that Ma knew me so well, better than I knew myself. Once I asked her, how is it that you know me so intimately, Ma? I still remember her reply in Hindi. Koi dusra nahi hai. Koi dusra nahi hai. That means there is no other. Dusra is another. There's no other. In other words, Ma saw us as already an intimate part of her. So all the separation, the good news is the separation is on our side, from our minds, from our flawed perception of reality. So that means it's in our hands to change it. It's not in Ma's hands. She already sees us as one, So, koi dusra nahi hai. A few words, infinite in their meaning. For Ma, there was no separation or duality. This was the only question this Swami ever asked her. Our paths crossed on many occasions. Ma could be just anywhere and everywhere, and her ways were always a mystery. I remember in 1962, now this is relevant. I wanted to read it for this relevancy. This is relevance to the day's disturbed state of affairs worldwide, not just in our country, but we're on this verge of cusp of World War III, but Ma also is dealing with this too. So Swamiji says, I remember in 1962 there was a war between India and China. Anandamayi Ma was in Dehradun. This Swami was staying in the town with some devotees. Every evening we would all go to Ma's Kishanpur ashram for darshan. Dignitaries from Delhi, who were all there also, hoping for Ma's blessings as the country was facing a grave political crisis. China had given India a 3-day ultimatum in which to surrender. On the northeast front, the Indian army was in retreat. China was we didn't get so much of this news in the West, but China was at the border of India ready to walk in and invade, roll in. It was Monday, the first day of the ultimatum. There was silence in the ashram, especially in the hall where Ma was sitting in meditation. Everyone present was keenly aware of the country's situation, but her devotees looked on Ma as the divine Shakti who directs the entire world. I recall that day because it had such an intense depth and uncanny serenity. There was a feeling of strong surrender to whatever was Ma's will. After a prolonged silence, she suddenly looked up tenderly at her spiritual children and said, tell me, what is the day today? After a moment's hesitation, one of the ashram girls replied, Ma, today is Monday. A little later, Ma again asked, and what day is tomorrow? Timidly, someone said, Ma, tomorrow will be Tuesday. There was a pause. Then Ma said in a strong voice, what day will it be after that? In other words, the end of the 3-day ultimatum. To this, no one dared to reply. Nor did Ma insist on an answer. It was late in the evening. Everyone left, somehow relieved that the day after tomorrow had not been mentioned, but the entire country was anxious about what was going to happen. On Tuesday evening, that's the next day, This Swami was again at the ashram, and so were most of the devotees of the previous day. Ma was serene, bliss radiating as always from her joyous being. When Kirtan was finished, Ma pointed to the distant hills, because Dehradun is right there in the hills where the Himalayas start, and then to the sky overhead and said, "See, all the clouds have vanished." The next day, Wednesday, China withdrew its army to its own side of the mountain border without any explanation. The third day of the ultimatum never came. Such was Ma's Leela. So, we can't say Ma did it, but we say Ma did it. We devotees can say Ma did it. Like one time, there was supposed to be. Let me finish Swami Ganananda before I start blabbing. Ma and all these great ones are always with us. Just last week, a lady from the U.S. came here and told me that she had received Kriya Yoga Diksha just this year from Paramhansa Yogananda in a dream. I believed it. Why not? They never leave us and always interact with us. The fact that they are no longer incarnate means nothing. Ma is always accessible and always shelters us. Sharanam. There's more. Once a senior devotee of Sri Anandamayi Ma revealed to this Swami a very interesting incident. A horoscope is cast for this one person by a famous pundit who predicted that on a particular date he would meet with a serious accident. The man did not take the horoscope seriously and forgot the matter. One day, as he was traveling from Chandigarh, which is in Punjab, to Delhi by car, he suddenly skidded and went off the road. Before the vehicle overturned and crashed, his door was flung open and the man distinctly felt a firm hand grip his arm and pull him out of the car. He fell by the side of the road and lost consciousness. When he came to himself, he remembered the prediction and found it was indeed that very day. Struck by the coincidence, he took the horoscope to another astrologer. Without disclosing that it was his own, he asked for a reading on behalf of the person to whom it belonged. The astrologer studied it and made a few calculations, then told him that it was useless to proceed further as the person concerned was dead. The man remonstrated, but the astrologer remained firm. According to his calculations, the person in question had died on the day of the accident. When told by the man that the horoscope was his own, the astrologer remained silent for a few moments. Then he inquired whether his client had a guru. On being told that his spiritual protector and guide was Anandamayi Ma, the astrologer smiled and, closing his book, said, "Where there is Ma Anandamayi, astrology comes to an end." So, I just made my point that Ma is very capable of protecting us, saving us, and guiding us. What I wanted to say earlier about Ma doing things by simple little actions. Excuse me. Our Swami Paramananda was Ma's. Swami Paramananda and Swami Bhaskarananda kind of helped run the Sangha for many years. A wonderful saint. And he was making all the arrangements for Ma's travels and the different programs. And one time the Samyan Sapta, which is the week-long retreat, which Ma was very insistent on always holding, was supposed to be in, I think it was Naimisharanya, which is a small village in Uttar Pradesh. And there had been torrential rains for weeks before. And so Swami Paramananda went there to see about the arrangement. He said everything is like knee-deep in water. The entire place is in water. And so he I think this is before phones and things. I think he cabled back to Ma and said, "We can't have the Samyan here because it's impossible. It's just waterlogged, and even if the water drained, it'd be just a mud field." And so so the people there said, and put these two stories together. Ma was there, and she read the telegram, and she said, "Bring this body a large glass of water." They brought her a large glass of water, which she usually didn't take herself. So she took it, and she slowly and very majestically drank the whole water down and said, "TK." The next day, Swamiji, still in Naimisharanya, he cabled again. He said, "A total miracle has happened. The water has disappeared, and the ground is dry. So we're going to proceed and go ahead with the Samyan Sapta here." So did Ma do that? Sure, Ma did that. Okay, so let's so we don't just have talking. Let's do another kirtan, and let's have darshan Ma. So Randy, are you ready with your slideshow?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Okay. Ma these days gives darshan through her photos. Through her photos, Ma comes alive. So many people I've met said Ma photos started speaking to me, and I'm aware of Ma through her photo. So let's see some photos of Ma while we sing this simple kirtan. We say Jaya Ma, Anandamayi Ma, and we say Karunamayi Ma, the overflowing with compassion. So Sarvani, if you would share your screen, very good. Nice, that's good. Jaya Ma, 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 Jaya Ma. Jai Jai Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jai Jai Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jai Jai Ma. Om. Okay, Rainer, you can bring it back. Thank you, that was nice. A lot of those photos were of Bholanat, here, Ma's saintly husband, who was her first disciple, and they had such an interesting relationship. Ma was like a young bride with him. She was always asking permission, and was very obedient to him. At the same time, she was his guru, and also there were times like he learned not to object if she had this khayal to do something, or bad things would happen. And at one point, there was a khayal, this spontaneous arising of God's will in her that she should be somewhere, and Bholanat objected, and she looked at him and said, "No problem. I would just leave this body now lying at your feet and go, and you can keep taking this body." He said, "Okay, you go." But he became he was obviously a very advanced soul, and he under her guidance he became a great saint, a wonderful saint, and he would give Diksha in her name in the early days. He passed. I never met him, obviously. He passed away in 1937, I think, after the Kumbh Mela. But he was a wonderful saint. Still, he was the father of the devotees, and he is still looked upon with great love and affection. Okay, well now, you have your reading?
Yes.
Now, usually our dear Pragya Hallstrom, who is now hosting the Sri Anandamayi Ma Ashram and Temple in Massachusetts. Where in Massachusetts? I can't remember the name of the city now. Outside of Boston. But she is with her grandchildren this weekend, so she can't come. And usually she reads this. This is
Amherst?
Amherst, yes, thank you. Amherst, Massachusetts. And she's author of the book Mother of Bliss, which I know is a very famous book about Ma, also a well-researched book. And she spent 7 years producing this last book called The Gospel of Sri Anandamayi Ma. It's in 2 volumes. It's available from Amazon very inexpensively. A wonderful book. And it's she found in the archive library in Massachusetts. I can't remember the name of the college now. Anyway, she found tapes and tapes of recordings of Ma's satsangs which were not published. And so she went through and checked the very rough translation and checked the translation with some friends of hers who also, Swami Guru Shodhan and Jaya, she spent painstaking efforts to produce this book, which is a transcription of these satsangs which were previously not published. And so it's not, previously we had a lot of extras, Ma's responses to letters or little extras or things, but this is whole satsangs of Ma just speaking spontaneously. So it's a really wonderful treasure. So usually she reads it, but Gloria, in her absence, Gloria is going to read just an excerpt from an evening satsang with Ma.
But I'm going to go rogue and just read one paragraph first.
Okay.
You will utter at the end what you have been reciting all the days in your life. If you never uttered the name of God and repeated only worldly statements, you will never be able to switch over to the name of God in your final hours. This is why this body says that people should always recite the name of God. It is their primary duty. They should meditate upon Him and remember Him all the time. They should practice uttering the name of God all the time, even while they are at work. They should practice it in such a way that the name should be recited automatically with every breath. Then, whether he hears or not, the name will be recited with every breath, and the last breath will not be empty. He will breathe his last with only the name of God. If this practice is accomplished, he will not need to be reminded to recite the name. If you practice meditation all the time, you will never forget him in your final hours. This is the key to spiritual success.
Wow, good choice.
Sorry.
Right there is the essence of Ma's teachings. Right there, if we could practice that one thing the rest of our lives, we would be saved. Beautiful.
Okay, now to our regularly scheduled program. In every woman there lives Kumari, the virgin goddess, the virgin power of God. In every man there lives the power of Kumara, God as the boy. If you attempt in your Girahasta, householder stage of life, to awaken that power within you, to awaken that Adi Shakti in you, you will become perfect. Both men and women can awaken it. You can attain Him from wherever you are. You should always keep in your mind that your body is a yantra, instrument, working in His hands. You should only work for Him with this body. The self in you is both Chira Kumara, everlasting Godchild, and Chira Kumari, everlasting Virgin Goddess. The Mahashakti, great power, lies even in those who are Girahastha. Only they have to awaken it, enlighten it, and kindle it.
And grahastha means, the householder state, the married state, where people are living in a married state.
That must be your aim. And what should you do to accomplish that? You should pray to God. Oh God, please give us strength so that we can serve you. Please inspire and guide us to serve you with this your instrument. With this intention, when you work, your conduct and your behavior will become divine. It will then awaken the Shakti, divine power, within you. Then you will not have any ego or desire for praise. He will make you serve others for the good of the world. That will open the way for you to advance toward the Vishva Kalyana and Vishva Jagriti, the welfare and awakening of the world. You will awaken the world with your good efforts. Your every work will be for God alone and not for you. And then you will free yourselves from the attitude, I am hurt because it happened like this. My mind is disturbed because it went wrong. You will never be pale-faced or red-faced on account of any mistake. You should be determined that you will never have such disturbances, and for that, you should think that whatever you do is for God. Remember Him wholeheartedly. It will open the way for peace. That peace will awaken your Mahashakti. That's the great divine power. There is no question of caste or creed. There is nobody superior or inferior. Anyone who remembers Him from his heart will be bestowed with the divine power and light. Men and women, all are equal to Him. Do tapasya, austerities, for awakening. There are different stages, just as there are different students in different classes. But all are taught accordingly, and they receive the knowledge that they deserve. For one thing is certain, one must be truthful and honest at whatever stage one is in. He should not have any ego. He should not have a desire for praise. God does the Jagat Kalyan, the Jagat Kriya, the action for the welfare and awakening of the world. Peace is obtained in God's name. One gets energized in chanting God's name. The inner Shakti, divine power, will be awakened. There is no discrimination by caste or creed, highs or lows in God's kingdom. God has bestowed this human body upon you. Try to utilize it for Jagat Kalyan, the welfare of the world, by giving up ahamkara, ego. Perform service to God.
Wonderful, thank you. Just one quick note is, people reading the English translations of Ma's sayings often ask me, did Ma always refer to God as masculine? And the answer is no. It's just the English translation. She was using a genderless pronoun, either va or tat, that, or bhagavan, or ye. These are all genderless pronouns, so it could be either male or female. Sometimes she would say the mother herself. So she doesn't describe a gender to God. It can be male or female or neutral, So what do you think of that reading? What comes across?
Well, for me, it's always a matter of actually remembering. It's great to read this and go, oh yeah, great, we'll do it. But then there you are, and you have to remember. So then you have to get in the practice of remembering. So when you take a walk, use the rhythm of the footsteps to use to remember the name of God every time you walk or when you swim, just to get in the practice. Start getting little habits, I think is helpful.
She does this too, I can testify. Thank you. Yeah, it's true. In every satsang of Ma, there's so much material. Basically, she gives all her teaching in every satsang, in different ways. But I found this interesting. I just went to this volume this morning about what to read and just said, Ma, please show us what to read, and open it right there. So to me, it's her instructions for Grihastha ashram, which is the married life. So, and she often said, the married life is unfortunately all too often characterized by just a sense of intense possession. This is my house. This is my job. This is my wife. These are my children. My. I want to get more and spend more. And especially, and not so much in Indian culture, in traditional Indian culture, but in this Western culture we're trapped in by our own karma. It's so materially based and so ego-based. So she's showing the correct way to live Grihastha ashram as a married couple, practicing spiritual discipline together. And she in this and other times, other times you read also, it's also emphasized in this one, if we just take out, she often said, don't be the owner, be the proprietor of the place. In other words, this isn't my house, I'm just running it for you, Ma. Let God be the owner, the Malik, the word she used. And if we take away that sense of possession and see everything as God, and she said so often, she said it in this reading, if we see our children as forms of God, if we see our wife as the Lakshmi of the house, the husband is the incarnation of Shiva of the house, we look on things as divine, as God being near us, and then we serve our family as serving God. She said that service will go to God. If we serve our employer as we're serving God, we have to have work, we have to stay alive. But if we do our work in the sense of it's a service to God and we offer that to God, even if it's cleaning the streets or whatever it may be, Ma said many times God accepts that service, that divine service, as a service of him, her, it. So Ma was so practical in that. She said, dedicate each moment to God. Say the name of God as you work. And this, what struck me in this reading also, is she said, your life will be sanctified, your service will be sanctified, your meditation will be sanctified. And she says, what struck me is, she said, you will aid in the sanctification of the world. She says, your sadhana will help in the Vishwa Kalyan, will help, she used different words, for uplifting the whole world. So our humble and small example and the humble practice we have, which invokes divine power, will go out to help the whole world. So we will be a co-worker with God in helping to uplift the world, if we apply ourselves. So the same life, two people can have the same thing, the same job, the same house and everything, but one group can be using it just for themselves, just for furthering their own pleasure, just for getting money to spend. The other group can be doing it as a service to God and for as part of their sadhana to find God, and it'd be totally different lifestyle. It'd be two different worlds. One will be just selfish and will keep those people in the realm of constant coming and going in reincarnation and ignorance, and the other will be casting off all bonds to live closer and closer to God. So there's so much in this. Can I see it real quick?
Oh, yeah.
There were some other points too. It was so. But hey, all of you, be thinking. I want to ask you too what you thought of this reading. Yeah, she says and she doesn't say you're already perfect. She says there's perfection in you. This divine divinity is within you. This eternal virgin, this eternal child of God is within you. But she says you have to do tapasya to bring it out, to realize that. They said that by our spiritual practice, this Mahashakti will be invoked and released within us. So, and also it's nice, she says, one has to be truthful and honest at whatever stage of life you're in. There can't be compromises of this and that. Like I can give an example, my own example. I was a monk for 40 years. I wanted to be with Gloria and to experience this Grihastha life, so I didn't, sneak around and do it. I very honestly took the permission of my sannyas guru and stepped down and made a public proclamation and everything, and now I'm trying to, as much as possible, honestly live this life. So if we, within whatever realm, whatever phase of life we're in, and whatever type of life we're living, she says we have to be completely honest and clear and and steadied in it, before the whole world, and try to make the ego less. So may I ask people now? So now is a good time. Now we're going to open up the open mic. But first of all, we want to always keep the subject on Anandamayi Ma, her teachings, what she means to us, how we practice her teachings. We don't want to go off into other subjects because we have limited time. But I like to ask people, first of all, anyone else have any thoughts about this particular reading? And then I can open up even further. But any other thoughts about this reading and about Ma's instructions to householders and saying the name of God and the last breath of saying the name of God? Anybody there? Don't be shy. Surely someone has some kind of impression from this reading.
I have a question.
Rainu.
Yeah. So you just said, you could either be like, there's two groups of people, somebody who has their householder life and their house and their job and their car and their kids and everything for themselves, or there's a separate group or a different version of that, which looks like everything we have is serving God, right?
Yes.
And how we make that leap is by remembering God in each of our activities?
Yes, first of all, by having a set spiritual practice, because everything has to be first internalized, then externalized. They say you can't have the vision of God externally till you really have experienced it as your own inner self. So if we have a daily practice, some kind of meditation practice, some kind of chanting, and Ma was very unspecific. She recommended most of all Nam Japa, saying the name of God. But she said it could be any practice we're comfortable with. It could be singing, it could be breathing, it could be anything that we feel is helpful to us. And if we're steady in that, and we have an inner stability and an inner calmness of mind from that practice, then we start trying to turn our lives out to the external world. And then we again, it doesn't happen all overnight, but we start trying to see things. This isn't really my house. This isn't really, we love that particular person, our husband or our wife is that special person, but they don't belong to me. They belong to God. Where God has given me this person as my companion, as my help, as the joy of my life, but they belong to God. The house belongs to God. And so we slowly just begin, it's a change of perspective. And that's important because Ma frequently said, I never tell anyone to leave their responsibilities and go to the jungle. Never, never, never. She said, if your karma ripens to a place where you can become a sannyasi or whatever, that's wonderful. But she says, where you are is where you should be. She said, I ask people to stand up and change their perspective. That's the important thing. You change the perspective. So you don't have to kick out your husband and suddenly, wear sackcloth and, go around in ashes and eating only fruit that falls from trees. We change our perspective. We see everything is for our sadhana. So we serve our husband or our wife. We try to really, help them and serve them and receive their service as divine. We try to do our job. But we do, I can tell you from my own work, I work also, I get paid. When I do a job, I try to look at it and think, okay, is it the best I can do? Am I happy with that? Then I say, Ma Swaha, this is your service, Ma. Whether it's, weeding a garden or doing something on the computer or whatever work we do, if we try to do it and offer that as a service to God. Because we all live in society. The human race is a tribal society. We are living in communion with each other, and the ultimate truth of life is one. The complete unity of life, we are all a part of each other. So when we serve society, when we're the doctor or the lawyer or the street cleaner or the one who checks us out at Safeway, we're offering that in one sense, to society, to all help each other. But that's also a service of God, because God is manifesting in society. So to answer your question, it's a matter of slowly just changing our perspective, and like Gloria was saying, remembering that everything belongs to God, remembering to say the name, the mantra, remembering to take away our personal attachment to things. And it doesn't happen overnight, but we slowly just work on that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, perfect. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just change your perspective.
Yes, and Sarah had her hand up, right, Sarah?
Yeah. Sarah, please.
Well, I took it down because you pretty much answered my question. I'm a therapist, and one time someone told me that because I charge money, that it's sort of like not quite as pure or something as, if I were offering it as a volunteer, I guess. But I can't afford to do that. And so but what you just described is really helpful. And I thought I could even like put a note on my computer because I work online and just say, you know, Ma, all of this work today is for you, or something like that, just to keep my mind in that place. And not because you can start to think about the money. I mean, I do start to think about, do I have enough clients to pay my bills and that kind of a thing. And it does start to taint it a little bit. And I don't really want to think of it that way. So anyway, what you said was super helpful. Oh, thank you.
Very, very good and relevant question. And also you answered your own question within your telling of that. But Gloria and I have talked about this too. That you know, like I lived 40 years in more than 40 years in different ashrams and everything. And I never got a paycheck, you know, and everything I did was as seva, you know, and you just got, all you got was your room and board, but you just did everything in seva. And that's kind of very directly seva. But that can be tainted by egotism too. But we've talked about it too, that if you get paid, is it still seva? And the answer is yes, yes, and yes. We do have to make a living. We have to support ourselves. You know, we can't go live under. We can, but we don't want to go live under a bridge. You know, with the homeless people of San Francisco. So we do have to get paid and make our profession. And within that, we do have to, in a sense, promote ourselves. You know, and get more clients and this and that. That's all true. But and I've asked this to, where did we last hear the most basic explanation of this? Somebody did assure us of this. I think it was even reading in Ma's things.
Might have been at church.
Might have been. Yeah, that's right. It was. Yeah. So the fact that we're paid, in one sense, I don't know if you want to take it to a lower grade. I don't think that's right either. I think that's just the situation we're in. But our attitude, if we're offering, especially if you're doing something that helps people, like you're a therapist, you're helping people in their life. That's wonderful. And okay, I can tell you something. I was going to tell you this later. Friday, we had satsang in Florida, and a man there, Narayan Patak, was there. And he's a third generation of Ma devotees in his family. His grandfather came to Ma and brought his son. So his father was also a great devotee of Ma. In fact, our friend Shraddha knew him very well. Wonderful devotee of Ma, and then he's very devoted to Ma. He grew up with Ma. He's a doctor. And he asked Ma when he was training to be, okay, let's tell this story. This is good. I was going to tell you later. I haven't told you this yet. When he came to Ma, he said, I'm going to be a doctor, Ma. And Ma said, okay, his father was a doctor also. When his father came to Ma, she gave him this advice, and so his father gave Narayan this advice too. I'm going to tell you what Ma told me when Narayan wanted to be a doctor. He asked his father. He said, it's a good profession. I will tell you what Ma told me. Ma said, when people come to you, yes, you do get paid, and you should see some people free. But yes, you do get paid, but serve them as you're serving God. He said, every patient serve as if they were an incarnation of God, and care for them and do everything possible, but then never think that it's you who are doing it. She said, if you do whatever you do and the patient gets better and you and your own mind take credit for it, then you will also have to take credit for their death, because they are humans and they were going to eventually die, and that responsibility will be on you too, even if it's not from you. So she said, do everything as a service to God, serving each patient as an incarnation of God. That was her advice to him for being a doctor. And then he told me the story. We had great stories on Friday from him and other people also. Arpita was there. Arpita and Robert were there, who are with us today, and Robert and Janet, David and Janet. Anyway, so he told one story. He said, after he became, this is Narayan now, when he became a doctor, he was still a young doctor, and he was very proud of himself that he was a doctor. You know, so he came to, I think it might have been the Kishanpur ashram, and Ma was there, and Ma was frequently in a state of ill health because she had no karma of her own, but she was constantly taking the karma of other people, and it would work for a while, then it would disappear, you know, and she had taken that karma. So Ma was in a very bad state of health. And he was there, and he was a young doctor. He knew what he was doing. So they asked him, can you look at Ma? So he went and looked at Ma, and he looked at all her symptoms and examined her, and he diagnosed her. He said, Ma, you have malaria. And nowadays in India, I've had malaria living in India, and nowadays they have some medicine that will cure in about 3 days, but it's still rugged. It's still a terrible experience. In those days, basically, you died of malaria more often than not. So he told her, he said, Ma, you have malaria. Please, please let us give you some medicine, or it will proceed to worse and worse states, and this body of yours will die. Please let me give medicine to you. And Ma, looked at it and smiled and says, this body doesn't take medicine. And throughout her history, she never did. It always got worse if somebody forced it on her. So she said, this body doesn't take medicine. But he said, Ma, I'm a doctor. I know these things. You have to take medicine. And he really kind of, Ma brought it out of him. It might have made him look really, really egotistical. He said, Ma, I'm a doctor. I'm prescribing medicine. And so Ma said, fine, do with this body whatever you want. So he ordered some people to go into the Dune and get some medicine, malaria medicine. Came back and he dosed it with her, and he gave her the right dose. And next morning he woke up and they called him, Ma needs to see you right now. She had broken out in this terrible rash. Her whole body was covered with sores, and she was much worse. And he realized, oh my God, what have I done? And this, at the beginning of his medical career, this totally broke his ego. He realized, I don't know anything. So he said he came and he fell at Ma's feet and he cried. He said, Ma, please forgive me for going against your will. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about medicine. I don't know anything about the body. I don't know anything about you and your state. Please forgive me and let your cow do whatever it's supposed to do. And it really broke his ego. And he said, and Ma told him, he said, Narayan, sit. So he just sat. And Ma sat for a while in silence. Then she lay down on the bed, and suddenly her body went into all these yoga asanas, these yogic kriyas, these asanas. Her body spontaneously formed, and all these asanas. This always happened when she was sick. Many people have told me that. And this asana, suddenly, boom, she sat up, and she was perfectly well. And she looked at him, and she smiled, and the rash was gone, everything, right before his eyes, this happened. And the rash was gone, and she smiled at him, and she says, there's a lot you don't know. You keep learning, and don't ever think that you know anything. So it was good advice. And then he said, when I became a doctor, my father said, I've told you what Ma said, and I'll give you my instructions. And that is, in spite of what you do, your patients are going to get well. So we do have to earn our money, but it doesn't keep it from being seva, as you were saying. It really doesn't. If we have the right attitude. And we do have to earn money, and we do have to get more patients or clients or whatever it is our job demands. And so we do it. Does that answer your question, Sarah? Well, you already answered your own question.
No, yes, that's really helpful. And I think it is easy to just start forgetting slowly. So I think I need more reminders, Post-it notes or I'll create something to just keep my mind there.
Good. You see, that's what sadhana is. Sadhana is learning how to remember. And again, we do it, we find our own little tools and tricks to do it. Post-it notes are great, And we have to just keep reminding ourselves. We just, like Gloria was saying, we forget. It's just a matter of learning how to remember. Yeah. Who was it? Was it Molly?
Molly has her hand up. Yeah.
Hi, Gemma. I want to ask, because I live with my mother. Ma put me here with my mother, and I'm always in a state of I feel badly because I'm often very irritated with my mother. And I have been my entire life. So I feel Ma put me in the best place possible to wear away this intense irritation. So it's very hard for me to look at my mother as God. I'm wondering, I have things that I say, okay, I can't quite do that, but I'm going to try and remain as calm as possible. Not express irritation. My mother's 97. I want her last years to be as peaceful as possible. So that's one thing I've thought of, like, what are some baby steps if I can't quite. And then the other thing I try and do is try and remember my own Atma and anchor in that, because then maybe if I have a greater anchoring in that, greater remembrance, it will be easier to change my perspective. But I was wondering if you had any other avenues that might be fruitful, because I don't do very well with this, but I really would like to change it?
Molly, that's a beautiful question and very relevant, I think, to everybody. And as the American Ram Dass once said, you think you're enlightened? Go spend a weekend with your parents. Our parents can touch all our buttons in just the right way. So first of all, let me say that in the scriptures of India, the Shastras, they say Mata Pita Seva, which is the seva, the service of your parents is the first responsibility of everyone, and it's a huge, wonderful thing to be able to do. So, and it's probably the most difficult also. And you also answered your own question in the sense that this true Maya put you there for that very thing, that to learn to deal with irritation, because it's a normal, natural thing for kids. What came up in my mind as you were speaking was, okay, if you can't see your Ma as the Divine Mother herself, that can be hard. It really can. Two things. First, you can think that, and this is without question true, you can just keep reminding yourself, God herself, himself, however you think of the divine, God himself, through my karma, placed me in this person's care. This person had the karma to form this present body from her own body, her own inner substance, and bear me in her womb and give me birth and sacrifice her life to raising me and being kind to me as much as possible and guiding me in what, despite, no mother is perfect, no earthly mother is perfect, because we're all humans and we have imperfections. She tried her best to love me and care about me. And so it's my place now to try to reciprocate and try to return that as much as possible. But also, you answered your own question in talking about the Atma. We really can't do anything right if we don't have our own inner state established, which only comes through a daily practice. So if we really make sure we have that daily practice, and we're trying to say the mantra, and we're trying to keep the mind calm, and like in our meditation, we watch the breath, we say the japa with the breath, it stabilizes the mind. If in the morning we unfailingly get up and have whatever time we can spare for that practice, and that's the bedrock of our life, that we get up, we can't possibly think of doing anything else. Before we eat, before we do anything, we shower or whatever, but then we do our practice and spend that time. Then our mind will be calmer to be able to do these things, because we really can't have detachment until we are detached in our own self. So if we're firm and calm, and we just keep detachment, and also meditation, regular meditation, gives us the option for other responses than just impulsive. The more we meditate, the more one of the effects of long-term meditation is we're able to step back from our mind and step more into our consciousness, and our own sense of I and our own sense of consciousness expands and becomes deeper and more steady. And then we can see the mind as something separate from us, outside of us, and we can see his thoughts. And then we have the capacity then to stop ourselves. We want to have a quick response of anger, of this and that. We can stop and respond in a more intelligent way. So this comes through meditation, but also through practice. So if we can just, if something your mother does irritates you and you want to go, just stop, step back, remind yourself, watch the breath. Let the breath will be an impulsive response should always be with a short breath. Stop and look at the breath. Take a deep breath. Watch the breath. Come back. Step back from the mind, and then try to respond in a rational way rather than impulsive. So,
I have some thoughts.
Yeah, Gloria.
In a more practical way, first of all, what you're doing is really hard. Living with an old person who's got a lot of needs, I think you are kind of in the big leagues, big leagues. Once a long time ago, Mangalananda said to me, "You need to accept that this is God." And what I mean by that is, accept her behavior. It is what it is. And you need to find your way to get your sleep, to get your practice, to take care of yourself. If we accept her, you can't change her, and you need your own way. That's about it.
Quite a few nods there on the screen. It is
Yeah.
true. Grainer, please.
I just wanted to say, Molly, one thing that I struggle with the exact same 100% now, except for she's not as your mom is. But one thing that I've found helpful is in the last week or two, I read this book called How We Live is How We Die by Pema Chodron. And she talks about handling intense emotions, which of course, everything that like Gloria just said about taking care of yourself, you strike me as being the type of person who probably is more giving to others than receiving. And so self-compassion has been helpful for me too, but that chapter, the few chapters about handling difficult emotions and kaleshas and looking at those states of mind and using them to empower us has been very helpful. So that's just what I thought, because you strike me as being just the type of person who's caring and concerned about the well-being of others, especially your mom. And sometimes what we most need in that situation is compassion for ourselves and care for ourselves.
Thank you. What was the name of the book again, right now?
How We Live is How We Die by Pema Chodron. And it's kind of like practical guide for using the Tibetan Book of the Dead as how to live our lives so we can best prepare for the end of our life and the next lives.
Beautiful, beautiful.
It's a great book.
The last, like Mom was saying, the thing that Gloria read, the last thought we have is what determines where we go, what our next life is be. What we get a huge boost if we're remembering God at the end. I want to comment more about what Gloria said because I'm a new convert to this. She's my guru in many ways. I was a sadhu for 40 years. And as a sadhu, you're constantly told you have no needs. You should have no needs. And as a sadhu, you do try to do that. You try to, eat simply what's given to you. You try to, have simple needs so that you can concentrate on your sadhana. And you lie to yourself and say you have no needs. And I was really lying to myself and said I had no needs. And when I finally came to the self-confession to myself that, yes, I actually do have some needs. And I do have some requirements. And I tried to, mold my life that, I could have those needs met. And very simple needs, other than just food and clothing, my life became steadier and I was able to give more because I didn't have a lack in my own self. So I believe that too. Rainer, what you said was very true. And what Gloria said true. You have to care, you have to pour yourself out, but you also have to have that self-care where you get what you need, you have your time you need, you schedule it so you're not just constantly just throwing out. Like one friend, a Sikh friend of ours who worked in the Sikh ashram, he said, I eventually had to learn that no was a complete sentence.
And finding that place for yourself, it may mean leaving your living space for an hour or two to do your meditation. Or finding a place for you where you are not interrupted. It's vital. And you matter.
Yeah. So good point. So we give and we give and we give and we try to serve everyone, but we do have to have our own ground, and that does require recognizing the basic needs we have and trying to fulfill them in a dharmic way. It's really true. Yeah.
Emma, thank you so much. It's very, very helpful. Thank you.
Good. Good. That's what this is for. This is why Satsang is so wonderful. We can learn from each other's experience. We can learn from what Ma said. It's so wonderful. Anybody else? We have time.
Adriana had her hand up.
Yes, please, Adriana.
Well, hello, my name is Adriana, and gosh, thank you for all the beautiful sharing. And I came across, today's satsang through Facebook, and I don't know a lot about Ma, but somehow I was attracted by her because it just seems like it didn't matter where she showed up, in a portrait or somewhere, there's something that she exudes that's really, really beautiful. And I didn't know what it was. I just that I just printed a picture of her and then just put it in the, in my living room. So next thing you know, it's like in the feed of Facebook. And I thought, and then your group came through and so signed up. And so, so it's been a really gift to be able to hear how she has shown up and represents for others. And to be able to get her to know more of Ma. So just wanted to share that. This is my first, encounters with her.
Wonderful, wonderful. I will tell you, Frankie, Adriana, my starting this satsang was for people exactly like you. For you. Because really, it's true. It's for people exactly like that. Ma has touched your heart. You can't even know of Ma. She can't have any kind of attraction for you. She can't have any. You can't even have had experience of seeing her face unless she first reached out and touched your heart. So you received Ma's grace. And when I was living in India, I was traveling. The ashram would send me traveling in the summer to do classes in Kirtan and stuff, raise money for our school, and connect with devotees and things. And so many people had the same thing. They said, Ma is just out of the blue, touched me. And there was no place for them to go and learn more and study and have support with community. And that's why we started the satsang. So I'm so happy about that. It's really good. If I can suggest, and this is not a self-advertisement, the ashram had me write a small book that serves just as an introduction to Ma's life. It's small, it's inexpensive, it's on Amazon. It's called A Goddess Among Us by Mangalananda. And I checked it even with Ma's main Swami Bhaskarnanda. He had me do some corrections and everything. And it was just for the purpose, because there are lots of beautiful big books like Pragya's book. Yeah, that you can read. But this is an introduction. So it's called A Goddess Among Us. It has some of my memories of being with Ma. It has a basic sketch outline of her life, and then some of her teachings, and then from my memories of being with her. So it's a good introduction, if you will. I can recommend that if you'd like to read it. And there's many other books after that.
And you said it was who? By Swami Mangalanda?
That's me.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. So this is so sorry. This is all new. And so I'm pretty excited. So, okay, great. And because that was going to be my next question, if there was a book that you recommended. And
I put a link in the chat for you, Adriana.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you very much.
Oh, we're so happy to join us. And we're here every third Sunday. So whenever you can, please join us. And we're working towards our in-person retreat in the fall too, if you can plan for that. So again, just one step at a time. There's no time factor on this and how you proceed, but Ma has touched you, and so it's really wonderful to be able to respond. When I teach when I teach classes on Bhakti Yoga, I always say Bhakti Yoga is our response to the grace of God. The grace, as I said at the beginning of this meeting, Ma's grace has touched us. That's why we're here. But then how do we respond? And that's what we have to study and learn and do our sadhana. And sadhana is just learning to remember, learning to be conscious, to wake up. Good. So very good. That's very happy. I love all the people here. This is such a great group, and we have some nice questions today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Adriana.
So we had a question in the chat too, which I don't think it's been determined yet, but I'll ask anyway. Where is the fall retreat going to be held?
Yeah. We did it last year at Shivananda Yoga Ranch in upstate New York, which is very beautiful, and it worked quite well, but it was a little too rustic for some of the older people, and there were a few problems. So we don't think we're going to do it there again this year. So the answer to the question is, as Rainu said, we don't know yet. We haven't determined. We had a board meeting of the ashram just last week, and we determined we're going to start working on that. We were even thinking of the Center for, what is it called? Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. No, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. He has a beautiful campus in North Carolina. So
that's Art of Living.
Art of Living, yeah. So at this point we don't know. We most likely will be on the East Coast, but we'll see.
And then now we have two more questions. Is Acharyaji going to be at the Shivananda Yoga Farm this year?
Yes.
The answer is yes, and we don't know when.
We're trying to be there at Thanksgiving every
year.
Yeah,
last year we were at Thanksgiving, which was really nice there. We took Prabhupada Kaur, and we were there giving a treat and workshop in Kirtan. But we won't be, as far as I know, we will be at Shivananda, Bahamas again we always get the New Year's Eve program there. We do 3 days of Kirtan and 2 days of classes on New Year's Eve, so the first couple of days of January.
Okay, and then
We were invited to Yogaville too, but we don't think it's going to make it this year because they wanted us in the fall, and it's just too much going on in the fall.
there's one other question here. Ryan from Ireland is asking, are you going to be at the Ma retreat in England in Birmingham in May with Christopher Pegler?
Answer is no, but we love Christopher Pegler. He's a dear, dear, dear friend. He and his wife Zodi, and we always stay with him when we're in London. I met him in India. We've been with him many times in India, many times in the UK. No, but give my regards to him and to all there. And I do recommend you going. Christopher has been hosting the Matri Satsang for many years. And if I can give one word about Christopher, he is a sterling, sterling character, totally devoted to Ma. And Swami Ramdas and Mother Krishnabai is his guru, but he spent a lot of time with Ma, a very upright, wonderful person, and he always has good retreats and things. So yeah, I recommend going. I would love to come, but I don't think I will be. I can definitely tell you I won't be there.
Okay, and one final comment here from Bill. You might look into the Himalayan Institute in northeastern Pennsylvania for the retreat.
Yeah, isn't that Swami Rama's place?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good suggestion.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we usually meditate. So, and then we have Jennifer Ferguson who just add a question.
Yeah, please, Jennifer.
Well, I don't have a question, but I want to thank you so much for doing this. I kind of spaced out today, so I logged on very late, but since I decided to go to the Bahamas last year for the New Year's Eve because I was drawn by you, because I was drawn by Ma, and because I really didn't know how I knew her, even though I knew things about her, and I couldn't figure out how I knew these things. Just want to thank you for doing what you do, because I have found a peace since meeting you, and it's only been, not even 2 months. I read your book, and now I am about a quarter of the way through the first volume of the Gospel of Sri Anandamayi Ma. And I read a little bit every night, and it is just it's like coming home. So I just wanted to thank you for that. I just feel this love, and when I sing Kirtan now, it's so different. It's so different from just being in those few workshops with you. I don't even have words for it, but I am grateful. I'm grateful.
Oh,
Beyond grateful. It has no price.
That's so sweet, Jennifer. Thank you. And I was looking for you when we checked in. I didn't see you, so I'm glad you showed up.
I'm sorry. I totally spaced out.
There's no problem with that. I'm just
the third Sunday was early this month.
Yeah. But I remember she was at the Bahamas retreat, and I remember we sat on that little stone bench outside the retreat thing and talked. And I saw you had all the symptoms of being totally bitten by Ma. You had all the symptoms of Ma's calling you and her grace. But again, how do we respond? Ma's called us. How do we respond? That she waits, puts in our hands, and sees what we do with it. But you're doing the right thing. You are responding. That's the thing. You're responding. That's wonderful. And that also makes me very, very happy that you're responding to Ma's grace. And that's the thing we got to do. Learn how to do better and better. We all have lots of room for improvement in that one. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, Jennifer. Well, it's about time.
Wait, we have Arpita. Arpita has one more.
Yeah, and the truth is we don't have. I always say 2 minutes, so I don't take too much of 2 hours, so we don't take too much of people's time. But let's spend what time we need. Arpita, you have something?
Yeah, I just wanted to put in a quick request for the retreat that is being planned in the fall. And the request would be to really consider very strongly the accessibility of getting to and from the retreat center for older people. that's a big issue because traveling is very stressful when somebody gets older and if they have disabilities and just to really consider access from the airport to the facility, and if there's a way to have like rides arranged. And I know this is all very concrete suggestions and you may not be at that point, but it's an important aspect to to plan for and think of.
Yes, very, very good point. And we have thought of that. And that is, excuse me, that is one of the reasons we're not going to have it at the Shivananda Ranch again. Because it's true, we had to fly into LaGuardia, and there wasn't a real way. Like I flew into Boston because I wanted to be with Swamiji, and drove down with Pragya. But it is true, like you guys, Gloria and Ramana had to come into different buses. It was.
No. I mean, we flew into an airport in Westchester, and actually it was a better trip than LaGuardia. And then we had a driver pick us up and take us to the retreat center. And then my friends who live upstate New York, they picked us up and we went to their house. But it was just synchronistic that we were able to have that. But I know the place in North Carolina, if it's the same place I'm thinking of, it's not that accessible. It's like up in the mountains, which is beautiful. It's just, that should be an aspect to think about, really.
Definitely, we have discussed it, and thank you for the reminder. And it is true, we're going to talk about it more, even to the point where I at one point this last year volunteered, just to be a driver and go back and forth a few times with a van or something. We're going to definitely keep that in mind, because it is true. We have to have some place where people can come without so much difficulty, and there was difficulty in New York, and we'll
Yeah. Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Acharya-ji, I would like to say that I would volunteer to help you with that. My mom just died last year at 98, and I traveled with her often, and that's what I had to do, was figure out if the rooms were accessible, if we could, So I've had a lot of experience. I took care of my mom for over 10 years and watched her decline. So I've also done research on retreat centers for another person. So I can help you with that if you need.
Right, if you can do some footwork on that and just give us a list of what you suggest, that's
Okay.
very much appreciated.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I will email you.
Okay,
On
good.
the team.
Good. On the team, yeah. Good. Well, okay, let me ask again. Any other questions? Why is my phone light on? Any other questions or anything else anybody want to talk about?
Just in general, there in the chat, there was a lot of thank yous today, so this is like a good one. I think.
Nice. Very good. So while we're spread throughout the world, but let's all sit together in the unity of Ma's presence and love, just for a few minutes. Let's say like 2 or 3 minutes, and do as she mentioned, as she suggested. If you have your own particular way of meditating, that's also fine. But Ma suggested just sitting quietly, keeping the body relaxed and still, and just watching the breath as it moves in and out without altering it, just observing its rhythm, letting the mind just sink into the breath, and then just adding the mantra we say mentally with the breath. As we inhale, we say the mantra. As we exhale, we say the mantra with the breath, feeling it vibrating in the breath, and just feeling the presence of God within that, and praying this mantra, praying as a prayer of longing for union with God. Let's sit for just a few minutes and try that. आनंद घन मूर्तये ज्ञान भक्ति प्रदायन्ये मातस्तुभ्यं नमो नमः. O you who are the one who takes us across the sea of life, who is the embodiment of bliss, you hold knowledge and devotion in your hand. O Mother Anandamayi, we bow to you. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya Aviravir Medhi. Lead us from the darkness, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, lead us from death to immortality. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Shri Anandamayi Mata Ki Jai. Apne Apne Satgurudev Bhagavan Ki Jai. Namah Parvati Pate Hara Hara Mahadev. Thank you all very much for coming and sharing this time with us and remembering Ma together and loving Ma and learning from her and sharing our thoughts. What a wonderful satsang today. So we're here every third Sunday. If you're local, we're doing Kirtan next Saturday in Fairfax at the Padma Yoga Studio, 7 o'clock. And keep in touch. And if you can come next month also, we look forward to seeing you all. So, Jai Ma, if you want to unmute and say goodbye, we always like to see everybody.
Jai Ma, namaste.
Namaste.
Oh, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, thank you. Thank you all.
So good to see everybody.
Jai Ma, everyone. Thank you so much for a wonderful satsang.
Yeah, thank you.
Hang in there, Molly.
We're on your team, Molly.
Yeah.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, thank you so much.
Good to see you
Ma.
again, Robert. It was nice
Thank
seeing
you.
Jai Ma, thank you. I realize even though I came very late, I still got the love, the bhakti. Thank you so much.
Very good to see you, Jennifer. Take care.
Jennifer, you can also check out the replay on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Vinu.
Okay, Jen, everybody.